Hey everyone, it's me, Chef T from the Sylvia Center. I hope everyone's hanging in there. We've been inside for about a week, hopefully cooking, hopefully not going insane. It's a beautiful day today, but this afternoon I'm going to spend some time making some food ahead so that's ready for me later this weekend or later in the coming week. So I'm going to make an eggplant parmesan. This is something my grandmother taught me how to make. And she hated to fry food in the house, and I have to admit I do too. So instead I always bake the eggplant. So I have an eggplant here. I'm also going to add in a couple pieces of zucchini because I have it. So instead of breading and frying the eggplant, I'm going to brush it and season it and roast it in the oven. It cuts back on fat and oil, and it just is way less hands-on. So the first thing I'm going to do is peel like every other strip of skin off of the eggplant. I like to leave a little bit on there so it doesn't completely turn into mush. So just cut off the top and start to peel. And I can kind of see from looking at this eggplant that it's been waiting for me to cook it because it's not looking its finest. So it's a great way to use it up before it goes too mushy. Okay, so I've left a little skin on. And I'm just going to cut it into rounds. Kind of thin slices, not crazy thin, but maybe about 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I've got my eggplant sliced. I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees. The next ingredients you're going to need are olive oil, a little bit of water, and some dried Italian herbs, like a blend, or oregano, basil, garlic powder, whatever it is that you like to season your Italian flavors with. So I'm going to lay all of these eggplant out on a baking sheet. They might not all fit, but they do shrink a lot, so I can kind of shove them in there and they'll be fine. Alright, my eggplant are all ready on my baking sheet, and now I'm just going to mix up about 1/4 cup of olive oil. I'm going to add a splash of water to that. I'm going to put a big pinch of dried basil in there. And I have a pastry brush here, or just sort of like a basting barbecue brush. Sort of mix that all up. Okay, you can see. And I'm going to just start brushing my eggplant. And kind of, you're going to have to stir it every now and then as you go, because the oil and the water don't want to stay mixed together. Alright, I'm going to finish brushing these, flip them over and brush the other side, season them with some salt and pepper, and then they're going in the oven. Okay, my eggplant is brushed and seasoned and it's in the oven, and I'm just going to show you how I quickly prepare the zucchini to go in as an additional layer in the eggplant parmesan. So I cut my zucchini about the same thickness as the eggplant. So I will just pour about a teaspoon or 2 on here, throw on a little salt and pepper, and toss it together and bake that while the eggplant is baking. Now I'll just use my hands. No brush necessary for this step. Okay. And I'll spread them out so they're not on top of each other, and those will go in. Alright, eggplant, zucchini is ready to go, and I've got the rest of my ingredients for layering my eggplant parmesan. So, I've just got a jar of marinara sauce. You could use homemade if you like to make tomato sauce. I've got some breadcrumbs, and I've got some shredded Italian blend cheese. You could also buy a block of mozzarella and shred it, and that would be fine too. I've just had this around, so it's a great way to use it up. The first thing I'm going to do is spread some tomato sauce on the bottom of my baking dish. This doesn't really count as a layer. It just makes sure that everything doesn't stick. Okay. So the next thing I'll do is put a layer of eggplant. You guys can see these softened up nicely in the oven. They got a little bit brown and they didn't completely fall apart, so they'll be great for layering. I'm actually going to go and start with my sauce again because, like I said, it's not a layer. So we'll do eggplant, sauce, cheese, and then some breadcrumbs so that the whole dish doesn't get too soggy. The breadcrumbs will soak up any extra liquid. I'll do my sauce next. And some breadcrumbs. If you weren't using breadcrumbs, you could always cook some lasagna noodles and put those in here too. Or actually, you don't really need them at all. You could absolutely make this like an eggplant casserole. Okay, so I'm going to continue those layers, and eventually instead of the eggplant, I'll slip in a layer of zucchini instead because I have it done. And then I'll put this aside until I'm ready to bake it. So right now it's not dinner time. I'll stick it in the refrigerator and bake it tonight or tomorrow for dinner when it's done. The last thing I'm going to do before I pack up my meal prep session that I had this afternoon, here's my lasagna. My eggplant parmesan, I'm going to cover it until I'm ready to bake it. I could also freeze it until I'm ready to bake it. That's always a great thing to do if you have a lot of eggplant on hand. Make a few of these, then they're ready to go from the freezer. I'm going to chop up the broccoli rabe that I blanched and shocked and just put it in a container in the refrigerator. It's going to last quite a while in there, maybe 3 or 4 days. So whenever I'm ready to make that pasta dish with white beans, I can throw that into the saute and it's ready for me. The hardest part about cooking sometimes is getting your ingredients prepared and ready to cook. So as chefs, we always know that these steps that we take ahead of time to prepare these things make everyone's lives so much easier. So whenever you have some time, try to get some of this work done. Don't forget to let us know if you cook any of these recipes on our Facebook or Instagram pages. I'll post a picture of my final meal after I cook all of this stuff that I've done ahead of time. I hope everyone is well, staying healthy, staying safe. I really miss being in the classroom with all of my students, so this is the next best thing. See you soon with a new recipe. Have a great weekend, everyone.